Easy people, welcome back to my channel at Big Steve MCFC, and welcome to, well, we're going to call it a pre-season sort of overview to see how we think we've done this pre-season. We've been out in Tokyo, we've been out in Korea, so I'm bringing in the one, the only Luke, MCFC lads. How you doing, mate?
Good. Cheers for having me on, Steve, as always, mate.
No, it's been good. I mean, listen, let's talk about, first of all, the pre-season, the fans in Tokyo and Korea. I know people like to throw a lot of dirt at Manchester City and say, oh, yeah, you're not this and you're not that. But it was madness out there. I spoke to one of the kit staff today and he said it was unbelievable, the amount of people out there with City shirts on and everything like that. What did you make of all that madness?
Yeah, it's mental, mate. I've seen the videos and that, and they're just 23,000 were watching a training session, mate. I think you'd struggle to get them numbers over here, to be fair, for a training session. So I think it's mad. Seeing a quote from Sean Wright Phillips as well, saying that every time he goes on one of these trips, it's like the number of people there is doubled. So it's mental, mate. Yeah, there's a lot of fans out there, isn't there?
I mean, I was having a bit of banter with Saeed and that, and he's like, nah, they're all Haaland fans then. But they wasn't, you know what I mean? You're seeing Grealish, Foden, everything like that. And anybody that thinks that this club, with the amount of trophies we've won in the last 10 years, is not going to grow around the world, is deluded. Because even I've noticed it. You know the same. I used to go abroad, to Spain years ago. You never seen a City shirt nowhere. Never seen a City shirt.
It was like, honestly, if you went on holiday when I was little and you saw a City shirt, it was like, it made the trip for me. Honestly, you saw one all the time you were there in Spain or France or wherever. And now you go away and you see 100, don't you? So it's mental.
Even them snide shops in like Spain and that used to sell the shit shirts.
Yeah.
I used to look thinking one day I'm going to see a Sean Golter hung up here. But it never happened, man. It never happened now. It's just Haaland, innit? Grealish, De Bruyne are all over.
Honestly, it is. They're all there, mate. I've seen some of them snide ones are absolutely terrible, aren't they? Like, you look at them, you just think, who said that looks like our kit? It looks like a pyjama top.
B-Dogs reckons we're going to win the quad. I don't know about that, mate. The trebles took its toll on me enough, man. That was a long-ass season, man. Do you know what I mean? Alec Johnson, City definitely growing. We're globally huge now. No, we are. Listen, people can banter all they want, but when you see scenes like that, they reckon they've made about 25 million quid off that tour alone. So
crazy,
worth ride, isn't it? You know what I mean? People are rocking around in Tenerife, Man City shirts. Yeah, man. That's it. I mean, what do you think about the whole the fans, the new generation of fans coming through? It's inevitable. I mean, you're never going to stop it. But, you know, it's mad because I remember watching pre-seasons like Chelsea had turned up there full of Chelsea, United, Bayern Munich. We played Bayern Munich. There was no Bayern Munich fans anywhere to be seen. Do you know what I mean? Are these the kind of fans that you reckon just jump on the razzmatazz and then if it went to shit a few years, they jump back off it and go for somewhere else?
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to say, but I think a portion of them will be, you know, they'd probably stick with City. But I think you are right in that it's kind of on the day they bought tickets to City, Bayern Munich, they want the Haaland shirt, and then, you know, it's back in the draw when they get home. I think it's one of them where they will kind of jump on and off the bandwagon a bit with it, but we'll see. We'll see, mate. I think you're going to get a certain number of fans that are going to stay with the club the whole time that they watch football. But I think at the same time, like you said, some of them will be a bit on and off. Is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, like I say. So we get into the pre-season games. The first game, Yokohama, steady workout. They're well down the line in their season. The second, they beat Celtic before us. We found ourselves 2-0 down. We swapped it at half-time. We came back. The second game, Bayern Munich. Obviously, we know about Bayern from last year. Won that game 2-1. The last game, he messed about a bit with the team. We got beat 2-1. But overall, I think this pre-season's been better than last pre-season. I think last pre-season, when we were playing in the monsoons and we only had a couple of games and then we were at the Charity Shield, I didn't think we were up to speed. I think we look up to speed now. What about you?
Yeah, last couple of seasons, I think the lack of pre-season, really. We had last season, we had a couple of games, like I said, there was a mad rain and thunder and all that. And then what it feels like to me is that the first couple of games are sort of eliminated, and you end up using them as almost like a pre-season. I remember a couple of seasons ago we had Charity Shield, we lost to Leicester. We were shocking at that. Used a load of the young lads in that game, and then we had Spurs away and we lost that as well. And it was like the team didn't look up to scratch at all. Even the season before that, in the COVID one, no pre-season at all, and we were shocking the first few games. So hopefully now we've had 3 decent games. Charity Shield, hopefully we can win that, and then we're into the league season, and we kind of got a bit of experience, a bit of rhythm back, haven't we? After a few games, yeah.
Yeah, I always talk about the rhythm going into the season. Just talking about the positives then from the season, the one that stands out for me was Rico Lewis, especially against Bayern Munich. The way he was box to box, linking up on the right with Bernardo, Kyle Walker overlap. He wasn't getting bullied off the ball. I think last season against Tottenham away, he got shoved off the ball really easily, and we conceded a goal. And I sort of started to think, is he going to be that man in the middle? But against Bayern, he was turning in tight spaces. He was playing nice, intricate 1-2s, and he looked like he's proper learned the trade this season. Yeah. I mean, his first season to win a treble, you're bound to get better. But he looked brilliant pre-season. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's our best player. He's 18 as well. You got to remember that. Like, he's not going to be the finished product, but to be playing in City's team at 18, I can only think of Phil Foden in recent years. It's been doing that week in, week out. So to be playing in City's team at 18, a team that's won the treble, I think this season he's going to be even better. I think he's going to play even more. And then, by the time he's 20, 21, I think he'll be the finished article, really. He's a joke.
Yeah, there's people talking about Perone. He came in a couple of games, looked steady, very much a pet man. I think Perone, he don't give the ball away. He does nothing stupid. He just 1 or 2 nice touches here and there, but he's very young. James McAtee scored a goal. Don't think he did anything too crazy where you're thinking, wow, you know what I mean? He didn't look out of place. There's a lot of City fans saying we should keep him as a squad player. There's a lot of City fans saying he's not quite good enough for our team. Where do you sit with McAtee and another one, Cole Palmer? Do you think we're going to get another winger in and they're going to let Cole and McAtee go? Or if we don't quite find the winger, he's going to keep him to bolster the squad?
Well, yeah, the talk at the moment, as you said, like McAtee, people don't know if he's staying or going. Even himself, he said he's not sure, where Pep stands with him. Cole Palmer's similar, really. We've obviously seen a lot of teams, Brighton, in fact, coming in for him, but you can't really sell these guys or loan them out until you've brought somebody in, because otherwise you loan out Cole Palmer and suddenly there's pressure to bring in a winger. Every door you knock on, they're going to be wanting twice as much because you need a winger. So you kind of got to hold these guys back, and then kind of last minute, if you want to put them out on loan, do it. But yeah, it's a weird one. I think McAtee will stay, but I could see Cole Palmer going out on loan. But if we can't bring in a winger, then you sort of need him, don't you?
Yeah, just that moves me nicely onto Oscar Bob. I thought he's had a good pre-season. I thought his interview after, I think the first game where he was a little bit hard on himself, but I thought he did okay. And I thought it was very unusual for Pep not to bring more youngsters over. So it shows me that he's willing to work with a core squad. And the way he changed it half and half instead of roll on, tells me that he's not going to work with a lot of players. I know Manchester City fans at the minute are panicking about the signings and we're losing players and we're not replacing them and that, but don't be surprised if Pep Gvardiol doesn't just buy for buying's sake and he keeps what we've got, because, I can't lie. I'm always on the fence of relax, it's going to happen. But when you look at Gundogan, when you look at Mahrez, when you look at the goals that them two score, you're losing 20 goals a season there out of them two for me.
Yeah.
And you look at Kovacic coming in, doesn't score many goals. Okay, Foden's going to come in the middle. Can he match Gundogan's goal tally? I think he can. And then you're looking on the right-hand side and you're thinking, okay, he might play Bernardo there, but will Bernardo get the Mahrez numbers? So if you look at it like that, we're not far away. But if anything happens to anyone like that and you're looking below that, the depth isn't there at the minute, I don't think.
Yeah, I'd agree. If you look at last season, we played, obviously, every game but 3 that was possible. Obviously, with the last few League Cup games we didn't play, but we somehow we went into the final game of the season. Some people like De Bruyne are a bit worse for wear, but we had every player was on the table to start that Champions League final. So I think that was a bit of a miracle, to be honest. Normally, be missing a couple. Somebody might be suspended. Somebody might be injured. But yeah, if we start getting yellow cards, stacking up red cards, injuries, and we've only got this squad we got now, I do fear a little bit that we're going to be in a position where you go into January and you think sort of need somebody. And I've seen obviously on that documentary last year, Tiki said, with Khaldoon and that if you go into the market in January, usually it does mean something's gone wrong. So I feel like if they're going to buy someone, should probably do it now, really. But who knows? You've got to trust them, haven't you?
And don't forget, we've got another month left. I know people want to get players in for the season, but if we started the season tomorrow, we've got a good side. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? This is what people need to understand. We've got a good side. City are probably looking at the first few games and thinking, don't panic. We'll see how it happens. And people need to realise that this Saudi Arabian war chest has literally distorted the market to fuck. Yeah. It came out of nowhere. They're going for top players now, offering them big wages. People's heads are getting turned. Clubs are starting to overvaluate older players because they know they've got the money. It's starting to get a little bit mad in the market. So I think that's got a knock-on effect. I don't think City are going to panic. I think Gvardiol deal will get done. I think that one's down the line, barring a bit of a fallout. I think that'll get done. And I think the winger situation, it's not as plain as what people think. Oh, right, let's just go and grab Leroy Sané. Let's just go and grab him. I think Pep wants a different type of winger than what we've been used to. So it's not a case of just grabbing people. We've got to relax. It's got to be the right signing. We don't want a winger that's not going to fit in the system, do we?
Yeah, it's not just FIFA, like you said. You can't just go in there and just sort of get Sané. Be a big fee for him nowadays, and it's whether he wants to come back. There's a lot of things. And like you said, hopefully we can get Gvardiol. The market's gone a bit mad. You're talking Scott McTominay, 40 mil. That's just ludicrous.
And Kovacic, by the way, is 25.
Yeah.
McTominay's 40. Harry Maguire. They said West Ham offered 20 mil. Fuck me, man. I'd rip their hands off, threw him in the boot and took him up there myself, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Some of the fees going around. It's just, it's one of them. You're not going to, I feel City aren't really the team that are just going to jump in and sign somebody that we haven't been looking at for a year or two as well. You look at the lists and things they've got hidden away, some of the players we've looked at. They've been tracking these signings. You're not telling me City have just sort of said this summer, we'll get Kovacic. They've been looking at him 2-3 seasons, and he's spawned in now with a year left or whatever it was, and they've said, we'll have him off Chelsea. He's got not much time left, 25 mil. So there'll be a few players like that now, hopefully, where can kind of go in late. Akanji, nobody saw that coming. That was right into almost September, and people were saying, are we going to sign anyone? Within a day of any news about it, he'd already signed. So
I think that's how we work now. I don't think we let it all out in the open. I think they will have targets. They will have people ready to go. Midfield Fernandez says, what about Matoma from Brighton? I mean, I like Matoma from Brighton. I do. He is a kind of Pep kind of player as well. He works hard, keeps the ball. He's not as direct as others, you know what I mean? I think he would be a great signing. But Brighton at the minute, the Wolves are at the door at Brighton. Everyone's knocking on the door with big money for Caicedo, the goalkeeper. Yeah. I mean, who would you sign? If you could sign anyone, who realistically, who would you go for?
Yeah, I mean, I do like the sound of that Rafinha from Barca, but I mean, that's a bit of a weird one, and he didn't play that much last season. Mitoma, I do like him, but the Brighton at the moment, because they're doing well, it's a bit like that. Do you remember when Greece won the Euros and everyone went and got a Greek guy, and it's like everyone's going to go sign a Brighton player, and then they're just going to drop another load of cheap signings and do the same thing. They did it last year. Brighton sold a couple of good players, and then suddenly they've got another couple of replacements. So it's their recruitment, really. They get these young guys in. That Enciso as well scored against us. They just seem to keep getting these guys in, and maybe it's about their kind of coaching methods and how they get them. I don't know whether some of these guys would work that well if United or Arsenal or whoever bought them. I feel like maybe you got to wait a little bit for this guy to prove himself a bit more. Mitoma, he's done well though. So
Yeah, well, they're talking about Elise. I mean, Elise,
Yeah.
he's got a lot of ability at Palace, but I watched a documentary about Palace, and someone was talking about him saying, like, he's such a laid-back guy, doesn't really watch football, he just sort of does his thing. And I mean, Pep Guardiola wants players that live and breathe football. They want people that are obsessed with football. I don't think this Elise deal, I don't think City's in for me. I think this is trying to talk the price up to go somewhere else. I can't see him coming to Manchester City. We're talking about Martin, who's big up the Mancunian way.
Yeah.
He's a big fan of Alvarez going on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been talk of Cancelo going on the right-hand side. I mean, where do you stand with Cancelo? Because for me, I thought he'd burnt all his bridges, and I didn't really want him back.
Yeah.
I'm starting to warm to him a little bit, but it's just the attitude and that. I think we don't need that in the squad. When we dropped him out of the squad and he went to Bayern, all of a sudden we looked a different team. So I'm sure Pep's aware of it. I mean, are you Cancelo in or Cancelo out?
Yeah, personally, I'd just get rid of him, sell him, whatever you can get for him, sell him. And if you can't sell him, get him out on loan. I think he's going to disrupt the dressing room a bit too much. You know, you've heard stories, everyone's heard rumours about him shouting in the tunnel and all sorts like that. So for me, I'd just get rid of him. But if he stays, as soon as that window closes, if he's at City, you just got to support him in it, unless he's causing havoc. If he's playing for us and he's starting games, then you just got to back him, haven't you, really? That's the way I see it.
Yeah, we'd never get on his case. If Pep makes a decision and says, look, we're going to keep him, then the City fans, we're just going to have to get behind him. That's what we do. Mancunian way, Martin says Cancelo needs to be on the right out of the club. But no, it's funny one. There's a couple of conundrums, like Kyle Walker, for example. The press were making it, he's not going to play against Bayern. Man City's agreed to it. Pep said it's nonsense, plays him. He's been captain throughout the tour. I mean, Kyle Walker towards the end of last season wasn't getting minutes, but he's had a good pre-season, to be fair. He's looked all right. I mean, I'm a Kyle Walker keeper. And I know he's not going to play as many games. If he's happy with that, I'd keep him, because there was times last season where he stood up, he had a few little speeches in the dressing room, he helped a few players out. You can see his passion when he's not playing. He's up and down the touchline, he's running on the pitch, congratulating the players. But then when we needed him, Real Madrid, Vinicius Jr., things like that, he got us the game, really, because Vinicius was all over us. But Kyle at the Etihad was on him like mad. And I think if he can accept a little bit of a bit part role and accept having to play every week, give him a nice contract, keep him at City. But what do you reckon? Do you reckon we keep him?
Yeah, 100% I'd say keep him. If it was up to me, definitely he'd be getting a couple-year contract. I know there's talk of him getting one, if not 2 years at City, and Bayern are talking about 3. So that's kind of the decision he's got to weigh up. But definitely I'd sign him up. I think he's a good character. He's got the experience. He's in like the captain kind of group. Not to be the captain, but he's got that experience to be kind of up there. He's captained us a couple of times. He's still, if you look at the stats, easily the quickest player in the Premier League on sprinting. So he's definitely got that in the locker to, you know, man mark somebody like that, anybody quick. If you get an Mbappe, somebody you got to play against. And yeah, I think there's a lot of English lads in there, and he's definitely somebody I'd keep.
I think I just can't see him uplifting his family and moving abroad at this late stage when he's at the champions of England, champions of Europe, just won a treble. He's got it cushy here. And I'm thinking, why would you want to leave? I get players have got ambition and they think, you know what, I've done everything. Sometimes the treble can be a bad thing when it comes to players, because they think, I've done it all here now, I'm going to move on. For us, it's great and we can't see it. Why would you want to go anywhere else? But as a player, when you've done it all, you think, I'm getting on a bit, I'm going to try something new. But that brings me on to
it's the agent, Steve. It's the agent, and it's Kyle Walker's agent. I've got no idea who it is, but at the end of the day, he's obviously wants the best for his player, but at the same time, he wants the money coming in. So if Kyle Walker's got a few opportunities, he might as well dabble in them and try and, you know, push up a better contract from City. So it's a lot of that kind of stuff you don't see, but it's definitely going on. Kyle Walker's agent's thinking, how can I get a bit of a fee or a bit of a new wage or a signing on bonus, whatever he's looking at, that's what he's trying to do.
Well, Cancelo, first of all, he needs to apologise to you for giving you shit, and he needs to apologise to City Extra for giving him shit, because he's seen his ass when he left, and you guys was only reporting what he said. He was only quoting what he said. I don't think I wouldn't be holding your breath on that, mate. I don't think you're getting an apology, like. But,
could have plastered that
nice.
everywhere, mate. Could have sold it. Could have done whatever I wanted. But I thought I'll leave him to it.
No, you did right, mate. You did right because you're not like that. You don't want to cause shit. You kept your mouth shut. You spoke to him politely. I seen what you replied to him and that. So at the end of the day, if he's got to win these fans over, he should come out and maybe have a public statement and say, look, last season's gone. I'm ready to go. Or B, he should put the performances in on the pitch and then the fans will be like, fair play to him. You know what I mean?
I think he'd need an interview, a sit-down interview, City Plus or whatever you want to call it, on the YouTube and all that. Sit down, explain what was going on. And if he was going to stay, he'd have to do all that. He needs to grovel a bit, doesn't he?
No, he does. He does. And that brings me on to the captaincy. Pep reckons they're going to choose it this week. There's a couple of contenders. Kyle Walker, Ruben Diaz, John Stones has been mentioned, Rodri, De Bruyne. I mean, I'm in the Ruben Diaz / Kevin De Bruyne camp. I wouldn't be bothered if any of them two got it. I do think that Diaz is a leader anyway, regardless of having the armband, but I just think he might take it up a notch if he got the armband. But Rodri is a dark horse, because he speaks well. He leads by example on the pitch. He's a unit. But Kevin's getting on a little bit. He leads by example. I mean, what about you? Who do you fancy captain?
If you look at kind of the pattern of the captains last couple of years, obviously you got that group, they call it the captains group, where they got a few of them going. People get kind of promoted in and out of that. And if you look at what we've got at the moment, you got Diaz in there, De Bruyne, obviously we had Gundo. Year before that, we had Fernandinho, and before that, Company. So we obviously had like King Company sat there for 10 years being the captain. We had Fernandinho replaces him, decent replacement for a few years. And then after that, it's like you've had a senior player, we'll get another senior player, Gundo. So if you're following that pattern, I think it would be De Bruyne because he's now, pushing on a little bit. He's probably got a few years left. Ruben Diaz, I think, would be a good captain, but I'd personally go for KDB as the captain with Ruben Diaz as like just under that. And obviously if De Bruyne don't play, then, you got Diaz as the captain. But I think Rodri is up there as well. So for me, any of them three. Be happy with any of them three.
But good point, Andrew, saying that Rodri doesn't. Walker doesn't set a good example off the pitch. We know he likes windmilling and that. So we don't want to see any of that shit. But you make a good point. Someone here says, Alec, we've got about 8 potential captains. I think that's a good sign when you can pick about 8 or 9 captains out of a team. You've got winners, mentality, leaders. Somebody just messaged this. Are you at Charlie tomorrow? I am. I'm hopefully Luke will be there. Manchester City's under-23s are playing Charlie tomorrow night at Charlie's ground. I'm going to be there. Luke's possibly going to be there. If you want to get down, get down. I think it's £8 in advance and £10 on the door. Let's get a load of blues down there. Just create our own away end there at Charlie. Don't eat the pies, because Luke, tell them about the pie you had at Charlie.
Honestly, man. I've been Charlie a couple of times before, mate. I've not actually had the pie, thankfully, but I've seen it, mate. It's a pie, butter and potato, melted butter with potato in it. That's their excuse of a pie they've got at Charlie. So don't go near that, basically.
No, well, there's you. If anyone goes to that game tomorrow, if I see any City fan with one of them scary pies with butter dripping down your chin, you deserve everything you get, lads. You know what I mean? You deserve everything you get. But listen, it's an EDL. It's the EDS squad, Elite Development Squad. We're going to see some new youngsters because we sold a few from there. So there's going to be probably some under-18s coming up. And at the end of the day, we just back anyone in blue. So we'll back any of the teams in blue, and should be a good game. But so the positives of the pre-season, we've mentioned Rico, McAtee, Kovacic. Kovacic. Did we touch on Kovacic? I don't think we did. No. He's come in 25 million. Looked like he's been here forever. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we're going to talk about Calvin Phillips in a minute. But one thing I want people to say is, I noticed a big difference in movement between Calvin and Kovacic. When Kovacic was on the pitch, he was a little bit like Rodri. He was pinging the ball first time. He was moving. When City had the ball, Kovacic was always looking for space to get on the ball. When Calvin came on the second half, I thought he was playing it very safe. He was getting the ball 1 or 2 touches, laying it off. He wasn't taking a risk. He wasn't stepping out of a midfielder's shadow. He wasn't dropping deep. He wasn't peeling off. And that's where I think Calvin lets himself down compared to Kovacic. It's the movement and it's the positioning. I don't know what you think, but Kovacic's 25 million. He's looking bargain.
Yeah,
bargain.
It is a bargain, mate. Yeah. I think at Chelsea last season, it couldn't have gone worse for them. But I think for him to get out of there now, he's sort of going to grab the opportunity with both hands, I hope. He's looked decent in pre-season, and hopefully, he carries that on into the actual season. I think in terms of getting a Gundo replacement, I'd hope that's as good as you're going to get, yeah.
And obviously, Calvin Phillips, we've both done videos today on TikTok and stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's nobody at the club wishes Calvin any harm. But when you're at the top table like we are, when you're playing elite football week in, week out, Champions League, and you're the champions, you've got to be at a certain level. Last season, with the injuries, he wasn't at that level. Pep couldn't trust him in big games. We were getting to 70, 80 minutes. And instead of giving Rodri a breather and bringing Calvin on, he wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
I've spoke to him personally, and he knows what he's got to do. He was in pre-season early. He's ready. I just hope he can do it. I hope he's got it in the locker to do it. Because, listen, there's no shame if Calvin Phillips has a season and he's not quite there. Because to get in that midfield now at Manchester City, you have got to be the best in the world to get in there. Or you've got to be able to adapt your game to suit Pep Guardiola. There's a lot of players can't do it. The fact that Pep's trusted him, he's got him, he's bought him, he's got his first season out of the way, hasn't gone to plan. There's no hiding place for Calvin for me this season. He knows that. We know that. If he doesn't have a big season, then I think he'll be off.
Yeah, before I touch on that, Steve, I'm looking at the chat here. We've got a lot of people in there, but 98 likes. There's nearly 250 people in it. It's poor, that, and let's get them.
Get the like people. Come on, man. Get the algorithm going for the Blues, man. All these United channels are getting up there and that. Me and him are fighting Goldbridge off and all them knobs. And then you guys have got to back us in the chat. You know what I mean?
There we are. Get a few likes up there. I get that. It's got to be at. There's literally 200 people in here plus. Half of them are liked it. Do you know what I mean? Get your finger out. Get it in.
Do you know how much shit people that me and Luke get now that Man City's won the treble? Yeah. I thought life would be easy when you've won the treble. It's got worse. The jealousy, the envy. It's disgusting, the amount of shit we get. But we're here taking it on the chin. So I'm looking forward to like Gary Neville, Carragher, seeing what these boys have got to say this season, because we're a different animal now. You can't come with that European Cup line. You know, if you want to come with the cheats and all that line, we're ready for that as well. But, you know, I don't know about you, Luke. I'm ready for the season, man.
Yeah, I'm ready for the season. Just back to Calvin Phillips. I think just got to give him a bit of time. You know, he's not played hard. He signed for us obviously in June last year, and his first start was in February. So he obviously had one hell of a journey to kind of get there. The injuries, the World Cup, all sorts. But I think you just got to give him a bit of time. We don't want to turn into this United-style fan base where someone has one bad game, or he's in a pre-season. He could have had 5 own goals. You know what I mean? 5 own goals, and it's pre-season. It wouldn't have mattered. So you got to give him a bit of time. Get him in there. He's competing with one of the best players in the world that still won't get credit for it after scoring, you know, against Bayern and then in the Champions League final. Rodri's a joke. So just got to give him a bit of time, give him a chance, back him all the way. And then I think, you know, we saw Grealish's first season. He wasn't incredible. Second season, he's one of our best players. So it's simple. It's going to happen. He'll get more time next season. I think, I'm ready for the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a big season. There's a lot of players that have got to step it up. We're going on to the signings. I know there's a lot of younger City fans out there panicking. I get accused, Steve, you're not worried in that. And it's like, it just comes from, if you look what we did last season, we lost Zinchenko, Sterling, Jesus, Fernandinho. We brought in Haaland, Alvarez, Calvin Phillips. Everyone was panicking. Arsenal was flying up the league. Everyone was going on, Pep's made a mistake. He's done this. You shouldn't have let him go. We need wingers. All the same shit you're getting now, we got last pre-season. And look what happened, people. You know, all you've got to remember is we've got the best manager in the world. We've got the best run club in the world. They're not going to do things because John down the road has fucking messaged Pep and said, you need to sign him because that don't happen. You've got to be realistic. I know we all want transfers and fucking people turn up at the stadium and everyone ballooning when we're signing players. That's great. But when you get to a certain level like we've got, you don't make them signings. You make one or two. Last season, we signed Erling Haaland, scored 52 fucking goals, whatever he scored. And people are still not happy. We've won the treble. People are still not happy. We won the Champions of Europe. People are still not fucking happy. So just relax. If we get to the end of the window and we haven't signed anyone and we start the season shit, come at me then. You know what I mean? Because then you can say, Steve, you know. But I believe we'll be all right, Luke. I believe Gvardiol will get done. I believe another winger will come in, and I think we're all right then. You know what I mean?
Just got to trust the board. Much rather be in our position than Chelsea spending 10 billion on these guys you've never heard of, because all they're doing is taking a chance on them, and most of them probably aren't going to work out. You've seen them sell, Pulisic. You've seen all these guys leaving Chelsea, and I'd much rather have this more controlled way of doing it, where you're not got transfer embargoes and you're not got all these guys. Just sit back and relax. You'll get a few signings in. You got to trust the board. Trust the board for the last 15 odd years, and it's worked perfectly on it. So on top of that, we got Pep. So, he turned Fabian Delph into a left back. That says it all, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Well, we don't worry anymore. We've got Nathan Ake playing at left back. We've got John Stones running through the midfield and smashing him in the top corner in friendlies. We've got Rico Lewis, young kid from the academy, knocking Bayern Munich about like no tomorrow. I think people focus on the negatives too much. We need to focus on the positives. I think we need to relax. I think last season was a special, unbelievable season for every Manchester City supporter. I think we're entitled to enjoy it. And like we said before, there's a couple of factors this season. Saudi Arabian have just come out of nowhere and started distorting the market. Certain players want to leave because they've achieved everything at Man City now. It's not as simple as that. So I believe there's a lot of time left. I believe we've got a lot of players that can play many positions. Foden can go in the middle. Bernardo can go in the middle. Grealish can go in the middle. Foden can go left. He can go right. Bernardo can go on the right. Bernardo can go left back. Ake can play anywhere across the back four. Akanji can. So you might think we're light, but there's a lot of people that can shift around and make the system work. You know what I mean? So I just think people, we're going to be all right. You know what I mean? I think we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Let's see what a few people are saying. Mario, we need at least one sign, add something to our dynamic, whether it's midfield, defence, attack. Gvardiol is high, aggressive type. Goal scoring mid, pacey winger. Yeah, I get that. The Gvardiol deal's so funny. When Fabrizio announces, here we go, it's more or less confirmed, 99%. Then something happened. I was told the player leaked something he shouldn't have leaked, and it all went a bit shit. But I do believe that we're going to get that deal over the line. And he's a big, strong, powerful defender. I think he has got a few mistakes in there. I've seen Messi tear him a new one in an international where he didn't get hold of him. But he's young enough, and they're playing alongside Ruben Diaz, and in that back four with people like Nathan Ake and Akanji and that. I think Gvardiol, he needs to come, because if he wants to improve, there's no better place than Man City under Pep Guardiola, is there?
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And we've got a few super chats coming in as well, Steve. So
yeah, one's there. Goldbridge is a fanny. We know who that is. You didn't have to give me $1.99 to tell me that, Arkid. We know that. Fair play to you. And there's been no objective or plan from the board. Tinsay, I think that's just a bit, I think you're panicking a little bit. This board are 2 or 3 windows ahead of every board in this country, let me tell you that. They're not stupid, but they will not be sucked into transfers and being played like a fiddle. There's certain clubs not too far away from us who are getting played all over the park in transfer windows of tiny teams because they're desperate. Manchester City Football Club is not desperate. We are the treble winners. You negotiate on our terms. If you want to play for this club, we put the shirt down and we say, that's the shirt you want to wear. And that's how it is now at Man City. Years ago, if you'd have put the City shirt down, they'd have screwed it up and threw it in the fucking bin. But the fact is now, it's a prestige shirt. It's Champions of Europe. That's what we want to do. But I get why people panic. The younger ones panic. But I'm relaxed with it. I'm relaxed with it. And the real test to see where we're at, I think, comes on Sunday. Arsenal.
Yeah.
You know, how are you feeling about the game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, pre-season we've had like pretty much 2 games every game we've played. You know, you get a full new team in the second half. We looked all right at times, and I just think got to go into it. Last 2 Charity Shield we lost. To be honest, we had Leicester and then Liverpool last season. So yeah, I think we just got to go into it, support the boys. I'm pretty sure the game's comfortably sold out now. The City end, so hopefully decent bit of atmosphere at Wembley. Obviously, last time we were there, beat United, so should be some good memories going into that. And Arsenal, you know, they've only been invited because we won everything, so hopefully we can beat them, mate. They only came second, so.
Well, don't listen. The Arsenal fans at the minute on the football terrace are going wild with me. That's my hour every week. I get to troll Arsenal on the terrace. When I speak on other Arsenal channels, I'm respectful to Arsenal because I backed them, believe it or not, before this with the Arteta thing, and they slagged me off for that. I think Arsenal's had a good season last season. They ran us close, but I think they underestimated us, and the supporters thought we were bellends. The supporters thought we were the biggest bunch of dickheads in town, but we proved them wrong on and off the pitch because our support was next level, and we got this club going. Pep got the team going, we got the fans going, and we won it. And the Charity Shield, they've made the signings they want. They wanted Declan Rice, they've got him. They wanted Timber, they've got him. You know, they wanted Havertz, they've got him. They've got Jesus, Zinchenko, they've got a good side. But we'll see. The Charity Shield for me, last season we were well off it against Liverpool. Haaland missed that chance, and then the Scousers were giving it the big one about Nunes, and then look what happened. So all I want to take out the Charity Shield is the level of performance. We need to put a really good performance in and make sure we're ready for Burnley on the Friday night, because that is going to be a tough game, mate. Burnley.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people talking about Burnley last season. We obviously battered him in the cup, but it's going to be a night game at Turf Moor. It's never going to be easy. Also, Steve, since we got everyone to drop the likes, we've had another 100 people getting 350 people nearly in here now. So get all them to drop a
like button. It helps the algorithm for me, because I have done a lot of content over pre-season. I've been knackered, but you know what I mean. My algorithm drops off. These people that post regular, they get fired up there. I sort of drop off the radar. So I appreciate everyone that hits a like on it. But yeah, Charity Shield. I'm going down on Saturday.
Yeah.
I might do some streams for Arsenal TV, Turkish. And then I'm back on Monday. I've got a big week next week. What about yourself, Luke? What have you been up to? You've been all over the world, man.
Yeah, I have, mate. Honestly, got a little bit of foot golf in at the weekend. That was good. I think I'm going to get down on the train on Sunday. Should be good, mate. I'm ready to go. I've been waiting for this honestly since the 11th of June. To be honest, the day after the Champions League final, mate. I've been ready to go with the new games. So let's go for it.
Here's the Zane Mayase. Zane, you've got your dad's credit card again. Come on, man. Thanks for the super chat, bro. Steve, we are coming for you. You have players. Trossard, Jesus, Saka, Odegaard, Rice, Martinelli, Timber, Saliba will be the best defensive partnership. Well, you said this last year, but the big shark came along. It ate you. It ate the boat. It ate everything and just took everything with it. So let's see. Let's see, Zane. You know what I mean? Let's see. But keep spending the money on your dad's credit card. I hope you don't get caught one day because he ain't having it back. Look, everyone's giving Zane a bit of grief. You know what I mean? Bit of grief. Arsenal has City phobia. I think Arsenal's got away with it a little bit pre-season, because the way they bottled it. If City had done that, we'll be getting it forever. But they did it, and it's like, forgot about now. But they were top for so long, and it was just that they threw it away. Man City turned the pressure on, but they threw it away. To lose 12 points at the end of the season from where they threw it away. I think they'll be better this season. But as far as the title race goes, I don't know about you. I've just got a feeling Liverpool might be up there a little bit with City. I don't know. Do you think?
Signs. Big time.
Yeah, the Hungarian kid.
He looks all right. And then McAllister, mate, I think he's a joke. I'd have had him at City. If we hadn't had Kovacic, I'd have definitely had him at City. And I think cheap as well. Liverpool, you know, they do spend. People say they don't spend a lot, but honestly, they do spend a bit. But I think the signings Liverpool make, look back at the ones Alisson, you know, Van Dijk, Salah, Mane, they've all been good signings, whereas United spend more and just splatter it all up the wall. Do you know what I mean? So Zane's got his card out again here, mate.
United had the first cup beating you. Listen, Zane, they beat you. They beat you, and all I heard off AFTV and that mob was, "Oh, United kicked us off the park. We should have had Granit Xhaka." If you're relying on Granit Xhaka, then you ain't going to win shit, mate. Let me tell you that. And where was Rice Baby? Because apparently he was the new enforcer that was going to take your midfield up to the level. If you've got Man United running around booting you about and you're crying about it, we know Jesus likes to cry. We know Zinchenko can have a good old strike. So, you know, it's rubbing off on the fans now, Zane. So you need to sort it out, man. Let's have a look. Here's another one, Tony. Look at how we're spending the money. It's all right spending the money, Tony, but, you know, it's got to be money well spent. Man United are spending it like mad here, but all they got to show if it's a Carabao Cup, and that was more than you.
Yep.
Got a Luton fan in. We've got a Luton fan in.
Big up.
We're Luton Town. We're coming for all of you. Fair play, Luton Town, man. You're living the dream. We've loaned you one of our boys, Issa Kabor. Good player.
Steve, they got James McAtee's brother up front as well. He was at Grimsby last year.
Oh, I remember him, yeah.
John McAtee, he's at Luton now, mate. I think they loaned him back last year, and he's so that'll be interesting, mate. That'll be interesting.
Listen to this. Too busy doing more adverts, that plant pot. Rival fans stop living in the past. Good luck, Luton. See, the Man City fans are good, man. Luton relegated us years ago, but we're not holding a grudge against you guys. All we want to know is your ground up to fucking scratch? Because what we're looking at, it looks like a building site. That's all I'm saying. So Luton away is going to be a good one, isn't it? You know what I mean? I can't wait for that. That's a new ground.
Steve, if you can't get a ticket, just ask one of them blokes that lives in the ground, mate. Just get in their living room, get a digestive, a cup of tea, and you'll be out the window.
If there's any Luton fan who has one of them houses that's built on the ground, Big Steve will do a live stream from your gaff. As long as you've got good biscuits, not them cheap shit biscuits that pretend ones, puffin biscuits or something. I want penguins. You know what I mean? If I'm coming in your gaff. No, listen, Luke. It doesn't feel that long ago since we're all crying in Istanbul and we beat Man United and me and you was fucking giving it them on the steps and that. But we've got to do it again, mate. And like you say, last season was a long season. It was expensive. It was a long, tiring season and that. And I'm ready to do it again, mate. Are you? I can't wait, man.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Every year, you know, people say it can't get better, and it was just that Champions League that was kind of getting away from us. And now we've won that. It can get better. The quad. Somebody mentioned the quad, but you just got to keep collecting these trophies, keep winning. The chocolate hobnobs, as somebody's mentioned there, they're decent. To be fair, I quite like a Kit Kat. To be fair, they're good. Used to get them mint Kit Kat. Yeah.
I'll get you in there, Steve. Go on away. Love that. Love that. Here's one for you. Leonard London. Premier League must be a priority. Somebody asked me on the channel. They said, Steve, is the Premier League still the one you want after the Champions League? And I said, yeah, it is. I always loved the Premier League. 38 games. We get to the end, we win it. But I can't lie, Luke. The Champions League touched me a little bit different. You know what I mean? And it's a bit of a mad feeling in it, and that I want that feeling again, man. Wembley next year, Champions League final, out on the piss in London with Doner Kebab, two on the bounce. I can see it, man.
Steve, everyone was saying last year, you know, would you rather win the Prem, beat United, and win the FA Cup, or would you rather win the Champions League? We won all three, so we didn't even have to choose. But honestly, it was a special feeling that in Istanbul to win that, but also the feeling on top of that, the boost of winning the treble was special. So,
do you remember last year when they asked them fans in Madrid, would you rather lose to Man United and win the Champions League, or win the FA Cup and lose the Champions League, right? Yeah. Loads of them fans gave me shit, saying, oh, Big Steve, he's not, I don't have the same opinion as Big Steve. Because I said, winning the Champions League burns them more than us winning the FA Cup.
100%.
We beat United in the FA Cup final. No one gave a shit after about 3 days because we were all focused on there. Do you know how many of them people have messaged me after and gone, you know what, Steve, you was right.
Yeah.
Now I've won that European Cup. It hits different. It hits different. I told you it's different.
Yeah, it's not
Man City winning the FA Cup does not bother Man United or anyone.
Yeah.
But Manchester City winning European Cups, it hurts people. It hurts people.
You said to United before that game, you're going to lose this final, but then City will lose the Champions League, even though they were getting nothing from it. They'd have done it every day of the week to stop
100%.
us winning the Champions League. So all day you'd take the Champions League.
And this season could be a 4-timer, mate. 4 in a row, never been done. That's something to go for, surely to God.
100%.
So listen, Blues, please hit the like button.
Yeah.
Please share this stream and everything to other City fans. I appreciate everyone that's been supporting me on Man City's official channel. I've been doing the Pitchside live show in Tokyo and Korea. It's been outstanding to work for Manchester City. Has been brilliant for me. And I couldn't have done it without everybody that supports me. All the fans that was writing into City saying, we want Big Steve on and that. I appreciate it. And I'm just like living the dream. I went for a piss, at the training ground. And I walked down the corridor and I was smiling because I'm looking at like the laundry room, the boot room. And I'm like, wow, I'm living the dream. Colo Torre's walking past, you know, giving me a nod and that. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm like a big kid, me, in there. Haaland's Rolls Royce pulled up there. Grealish's Lamborghini sat there because they're all on tour. It's just a different level. And for a fan, like, to do that, it's unbelievable. And like, one of the producers come up to me at the end and said, Steve, how must you feel? And I said, well, we did like 58, 60 odd games last season. And to spend pre-season talking about City in the studio is just, it's amazing for me, man. I appreciate it. But Luke, we're hoping to get you involved at City at some point. So that'd be good. But anyway, listen, Blues, that's been me and Luke's little ramble on pre-season. Try and relax. Don't worry about the pre-season signings just yet. There's a long way to go. Let's focus on the Charity Shield at weekend. Let's get that one in the cabinet. Let's beat Arsenal, put in a top performance, and we're ready to go. Luke, it's been a pleasure. Where can they find you, Luke? They all know you anyway, but where can they find you?
You can find me. Just type in MCFC Lads, anything, any platform, you'll find it. Just done a bit of a video about Calvin Phillips, as Steve said. And get on Big Steve's TikTok as well. You haven't mentioned that yet. Big Steve's TikTok. Listen, I can't lie. Luke's helping me with the TikTok. He's doing really, really well. I thought Twitter was bad. TikTok is fucking unbelievable. I only scan on it every now and then, but I'll tell you what, it's mental. But listen, if you've got a TikTok, or your dog's got a TikTok, or your cat, or your kids, follow Big Steve MCFC for TikTok. When the season starts, we're going to mix it up a little bit. So listen, people, thanks for this. I appreciate it. I'll see everybody Sunday at the Charity Shield, or I'll see you tomorrow at Charlie for a butter and potato pie. See you in a bit. See you in a bit.